It is Chris Brown, your real estate professional and a marketing entrepreneur. So we have definitely experienced some technical challenges, but with all things in the world, it's just an obstacle. We just got to get through it. So I have prepared an amazing update of the real estate market. I know there's been a bunch of people who have signed on. We're didn't see us live at the same thing. That's the situation with going live. Sometimes you have technical difficulties, but hey, this is authentic. Obviously, if it was pre-recorded, we'll be able to make sure that that's timely, that you receive it in a timely fashion. But for all of those who are worried and concerned, do not worry. We will make sure that this information is actually emailed out to you. What we'll do is just after we record today's session, we'll make sure that the session goes out to you. So I appreciate everybody hanging in there. I did get the different messages saying, hey, what's going on with the update? Are you guys having it today? You said 1 o'clock. I understand. And it is today. You guys are getting it. So we want to make sure that no technical challenges will stop the show. So definitely appreciate everybody tuning in to the latest and greatest market update for November of 2023. So, guys, I want to make sure that we are getting into this and making sure that you guys are getting the most up-to-date information. So definitely appreciate everyone being on board and just being there, man. We appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. So if you haven't already, if this is your first time tuning in to the platform, be sure to like, subscribe. We want to make sure that you're receiving the latest and greatest updates. Be sure to click on the notification because that always helps out. So whenever I'm giving you guys any new updates, new projects, I know there's definitely going to be some new projects coming down the line. So be sure to tune in. We want to make sure that you guys are getting this information and that you're getting the latest and greatest of it. So awesome. So for a couple of key takeaways that we will definitely be discussing, one of them being is that you guys need to know what's going on with the interest rates. I know a lot of you guys are always asking me because I continuously get the same question: what's going on with the interest rates? So that you guys are aware of what is going on with the interest rates. We are still experiencing the high interest rates, and no, they haven't gone anywhere. But I can say, as of the latest report, that as the average 30-year mortgage rate has fallen to about 7.44%. So if you guys have been following me, last week, the interest rates were about 7.5. So it wasn't a huge drop, but it did decrease. So I know a lot of people like it just keeps going up and up and up. But just letting you guys know that, hey, it did drop to about 7.44%. Last week it was 7.5. It's actually the third week drop in a row. So it's been 3 weeks in a row where we've had some type of a decrease. Because if you guys remember, we were definitely much more up there. So that's good news for buyers facing these higher prices, because the prices haven't really dropped. They've had a little bit of stability to them. So as buyers are dealing with these higher prices of homes, they can see the difference, especially in affordability, and then also just qualifying for a home. So a lot of people aren't able to qualify for the same home because two reasons. One, because the prices have gone up, and then two, it's because the interest rates are up. So even if the price is where it is right now, and say if you're not negotiating, you guys have been following, you guys got to look out for those additional incentives. But if you guys haven't been negotiating some type of seller concessions, you're facing challenges because you're not going to be able to qualify for the same home at the higher interest rate. But if that interest rate does drop, you will be able to qualify for a particular home or particular mortgage, so to speak. And then hopefully you're locking it in as well. So with the higher prices, it becomes a challenge, and a near historic low number of homes for sale. So that's also another challenge. The homes that are for sale, the inventory is low. A lot of people who have been reselling their homes, they're really second guessing, even though they could probably make a lot of money by selling their home at this time, especially if they've owned their home for more than 4 years. A lot of people that have recently purchased their home or refinanced their home, they're probably currently paying like close to 3%, below 3%. And then if they do sell their home and then have to purchase a new home, they're looking at almost double the interest rate. So that really impacts the new price or new payment that they would have for the upcoming month. So we definitely want to make sure that people are understanding how this inventory is impacted. So it's not so much a situation where there's no homes being built. It just doesn't make sense to build more homes right now when people are really on the fence if they're actually going to sell the current home to be able to move up or even to downsize. So people are still willing to accept the bigger home or stay in their larger home because they're in a situation where it's like, hey, if I stay here, I'm going to have a less of a payment, even though it's more, I don't know, it might be a situation where it's just more cleaning for them to do, which is understandable. Maybe it might be cheaper for them just to hire somebody to come by once or twice a week to be able to clean the home. The way that these interest rates are looking, it may be cheaper just to go ahead and hire a maid service to come on by. So that is definitely something that we want to make sure that we keep an eye on. Are these interest rates, are they really impacting us? Yes, they are impacting us. And they're still on the higher side, even though we have received a little bit more of an adjustment on the downsizing of that particular interest rate. So other items that we definitely want to be sure to take a look at when prices begin to settle. So something that people have asked me, hey, is this going to affect a crash or are sellers going to really start dropping the prices? Well, I can say the behavior will be changing of sellers moving forward. Prices have not really adjusted as much. So keep that in mind. Prices have not adjusted as much. They're still trending upwards. So you may see a zigzag going up. It may not be going straight up, but maybe a zigzag going up, but it is trending upwards. So the prices are still going up. But what we are finding out, and if you guys have been following me, one thing that people are really, really finding out is that there are more opportunities to negotiate. What I mean by negotiate, it may not be specifically the price, but it may be the incentives that are being offered. And a lot of times what happens is a seller wants to sell their home, but they don't want to miss out on the opportunity of making a decent amount of money. But they may be willing to give up a little bit in order to get a buyer locked in. And it's not so much the price itself, but they're willing to say, one, negotiate where they're willing to give incentives so that you can buy down their interest rate. So that's a big thing right now where people are using that. Some people are using this opportunity for closing costs. The interest rate may not bother them as much. Maybe they have a great opportunity with the current lender or mortgage person that they're working with. And they can get a decent rate or decent payment, and they just really want someone to help cover the costs. So I know in the Florida market, I know there was a big test. I got this information from Florida Realtors guide here. And it says that 1 in 3 sellers are granting some type of buyer concession. So what does that mean? So with the markets that they tested out, you always want to say, is it really applicable to me? So markets that they tested out in Florida was Miami, which is a big market. They also tested out Orlando, which is another big market. And then the ever so hot Tampa Bay market. So with all of those markets, they came to about an average of 1 in 3 sellers are offering some type of incentive so that people can go ahead and get their properties sold. So it's not so much that they're dropping the price, but they may be offering some type of incentives for the buyer to be able to, one, buy down the interest rate so it does make it a bit more affordable for them. And then also so that they feel they're getting some type of deal. So just looking at the data that came back, it looks like it was 35.4% in Miami, where you would see these concessions. Orlando had 34.3%, and actually Tampa had a little bit higher than them. They were at 43.1%. And this is on all closed deals that they had some type of concession that was in there. And that's up from 19.7% the year before. So that tells you that, hey, if you're thinking about selling your home in today's market hint, hint to all of my sellers out there that, hey, this is statistical data right here that will let you know that, hey, that people who are selling their homes today, at least 43.1% are offering some type of concession where they're, like I said, it may be offering something towards closing costs. It may be concessions can be used in different ways. Buy down interest rates, there's always some type of great opportunity for people. So keep in mind, like I said, uh, concessions, 1 in 3 transactions were showing some type of concession was being offered. So to answer my question, in regards to people asking like, hey, Chris, are these prices going to settle? Prices technically are not going to settle, but like I said, it's not so much just about the price. It's also about the interest rate. And at the end of the day, it's really primarily about, hey, what is my monthly investment going to be? So you want to make sure that you have that big understanding that you're not just focused on one aspect of the transaction, such as just the price. See what you guys can negotiate. If it's an actual price, actual property that you like, and it has what you need, plus maybe a couple of extra bells and whistles, work with a real estate professional that is savvy enough to be able to negotiate on your behalf. Because at the end of the day, you're going to want to have someone that's going to be able to negotiate and have a better understanding of what your ultimate end goal is. Okay. So don't get so emotional where you see the price and you're like, no, I don't want that price. But hey, it might be at a particular price, but see if you can drop that interest rate a bit, it may work out for you. So keep that in mind. So other items we want to talk about in today's market update. Should we expect the real estate market to crash, guys? I mean, truthfully, from what I've seen in the past, people are like, hey, do you want the real estate market to crash? If it did crash, I would probably be preparing myself to buy some more real estate, if you know what I mean. So a lot of people are like, hey, they want the market to crash because they see it as an opportunity to buy real estate because you'll be able to buy it cheaper. And they always see that real estate, they will always rebound. We're not seeing so much of the real estate market crashing at this time, but what we are experiencing, what I'm telling a lot of people to keep their eyes on, hey guys, if the market's not crashing right now, you really need to pay attention to the indicators that are out there. There's multiple indicators that are going to tell you how the market is going and what's going on with it. So one of the indicators that's out there is an index. It's called the NAHB index, and it basically stands for National Association of Home Builders. They have an index where they're able to determine sentiment of properties. Basically, it tells you how many homes a builder should build. So it kind of gives them, they're taking data from different places in reference to how buyers are buying right now and what buyers are actually doing in the market. So I know for a fact that the index for builders confidence fell by 6 points, and they have their own scale. So it's by it dropping by 6 points, it's at a 34. So, which is the lowest level since December of 2022. And I'm getting this information, like I said, guys, from different economists that I follow, different associations that I follow. Obviously, I know for the National Association of Home Builders, this is one of the ones, an article that came out in reference to it. So 34 is the lowest level since December of 2022, but some data indicates improving conditions ahead. So they're being optimistic. So optimistic meaning that, hey, even though things have changed and people aren't buying at the moment, we do foresee something changing in the near future, possibly going towards the more increase of buyers, perhaps. What are buyers going to actually be buying? Is it going to be new construction? Because new construction is out there. Don't forget, if you're reselling your home, hopefully you're in a unique area where you're able to resell. And buyers are looking at the pros and cons. They're really looking at the pros and cons. One, it's the structure of the property itself. Two, it's also looking at, like, say, the common sense stuff, like how's the crime rate in the area? How are the jobs in the area? how are the stores, the restaurants, the entertainment? What is this home near? What are, ultimately, hey, if they got kids, how are the schools? So truly important. Moving forward, this is going to be having this information available is going to be very key. So I know with a lot of my sellers that I'm working with, I'm making sure that if we're doing a resale of a property, then we are paying attention to the features. It's more than just the physical features of the property itself. It's also going to be in reference to the surroundings. You know, if those are big things that help attract a buyer, we need to make sure that we're emphasizing that so that that information is out there and that these buyers are being educated by my marketing versus depending on another agent being knowledgeable of the area of the property and the trends that are in that area and being able to share that with their potential buyer. That's not going to happen. We can't. I mean, I'll be real with you. A lot of agents that are out there or real estate professionals, they may not be as familiar as the listing agent. So that's going to be one of a new job, or even I won't say a new job, but it's always something that you're going to have to overemphasize to any potential buyer or buyer's agent that's coming and looking at a listing, making sure that, hey, they understand the different features. And a lot of times what I do is I'll go ahead and have a feature sheet. With that feature sheet, it will display not only just the physical features of the property, but like I said, the surrounding features that will attract a potential buyer. You know, what attracted the current homeowners to that particular area, and what do they like about that area? Because a potential buyer may like it as well. You never know. So always overemphasizing that information. The market is going to be doing some shifting, but it's always paying attention to the key indicators. And this is one big indicator right here that I particularly pay attention to and wanted to share that information with you guys as well. So, all right. So we always have what's next. So other information that's out there. All right. So we've already discussed, will interest rates continue to rise? Will prices begin to settle? Should we expect real estate market to crash? Next up on the agenda we have, is this a good time to sell? Guys, so like I said before, it's really going to depend on the homeowner. What's really motivating a homeowner to sell in today's market? Is it that you are looking to upsize? Is it looking to downsize? Are you experiencing life? And what I mean by life is life, you know, death happens in life, divorce happens in life, jobs happen in life where you have to move. So the motivation, so when a seller is selling their property in today's market, the seller is probably going to have a little bit more motivation besides just money. Okay, so keep that in mind. If they're on the market, they're wanting to sell, and then some people are really trying to, they're still testing the market, like saying, hey, I want this price for this home. I need to move to this other area, but if I move to this other area, I'm going to pay a higher interest rate and my commute may be different. So if that is the case, all of that, everything has to align, right? But if it's a situation where it's like, hey, my job has changed and I may need to move out of state. If that is the case, then, hey, that means they need to sell a property. And it's not so much a situation where you could just lowball them and knock them over the head, but it's a situation where you may have a little bit of room to negotiate. Think about the interest rates. Think about closing costs. Think about incentives, getting things taken care of in the property. Think about it. There's different things that can be incentivized when you're buying a home. So like I said, don't get stuck on the price. Don't let that bother you as much. Think about other items that may be beneficial for you if that is the case for you. Okay. So one of the economists that I do follow, economist Lawrence Young, and I may be mispronouncing it. It's spelled Y-U-N. If somebody knows, if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, somebody please correct me. I will not be offended. But he predicts that home sales will rise by 15% next year, which is 2024, And by spring, mortgage rates will be in the range of 6 to 7%. What? So, hey guys, that is the inside scoop. So they're saying by spring of 2024, they're predicting that the mortgage rates are going to probably be in that 6 to 7% range. And that's ideal. That what I was speaking before, I think I said 5 to 6. I think I said 5 to 6. So it's moving towards the area what I would suggest. And then also, like I said, always got to look at the indicators, guys. This is next year's an election year. Things always happen differently during an election year. Let's just put it that way. Things happen differently during an election year. During an election year, you're always things don't go according to trends, previous trends. Put it that way. Okay. So it doesn't go by previous trends, but it does. You always got to pay attention to different things. But I like what he's saying here. So, and for guys who don't know Lawrence Yun, he is the National Association of Realtors chief economist. So when I say that this guy knows a little something, I would think he knows a little something. He has some influence on the market. Obviously, this is his thing. National Association of Realtors. We're always keeping a keen eye on what's going on. And then it's also going to see how is it going to impact your specific markets. So that's why you always got to work with a local professional because, guys, let's be real. At the end of the day, how does it impact your market? How does it impact your home? That's what it's going to come down to. So Yun said home sales will likely decline by 18% once all of 2023 numbers are in. Whew. So this is the November update. So we don't have any numbers for November just yet, but this is up to this point. So you have November and December. So we're really going to see how things are going to wrap up. So he really thinks that the market is kind of going in a slow mode. In the past, guys, don't get spooked by this, but in the past, the fourth quarter has been a slower year, except this pandemic situation. Okay. Nothing went according to the previous trends. So keep that in mind. But this is something to keep an eye on. You got to look at the GDP. You got to look at the inflation. Inflation numbers are settling a little bit. There was some conversation about inflation settling a little bit. And what I mean by inflation settling is not so much. So when I say inflation, I'm not talking specifically regarding the mortgage rates. Some people get that confused. But the inflation of the pricing of other items, such as, a big one right now is food. So I don't know if anybody's having a Black Friday food sale. I'm sure that may have a bigger success than electronics this year because groceries are expensive. Let me tell you. I can't get that chicken breast like I used to. Get the whole big pack for like, I think it was at one point it was only like $10, and now it's like almost $20 for the same pack. I'm like, what's going on with this? But that is something that we do need to keep an eye on. Obviously, guys, I'm here to give you the latest and greatest, continuously giving you the updates. Year 2024, we're going to be giving you more and more valuable information. And that's what it all comes down to, guys, is making sure that the information that I'm giving out to you guys in reference to the real estate market, that this information is valuable, that it makes sense to people, especially if you're a homeowner. You want to know what the market is doing. And, should you really be thinking about selling your house? Like I said, it really depends on everyone's situation, what's going on with that individual, what is going on in your life. Are you being lifed right now where you have to sell your property? Or are you in a position where you're just like, hey, I just want to know how much money I can get. I want to get a bigger house. If you're looking to get a bigger home, it may be an opportunity to sell your home. But on the flip side, it's like, hey, don't look at getting 3% interest rate. You're not going to get that. You got to be looking to pay the higher interest rate. And does it make financial sense for you and what your future financial goals are? A lot of people are just hesitating. They're just sitting back. They're not budging. They're just going to stick with their current home and just kind of ride this out. But it is an opportunity for people to maybe invest. If you got a lot of equity in your home right now, I've spoken about this before in the past. If you have a good amount of equity that's in your home, think about investing. You know, people are, they're not buying a home, they're going to need somewhere to live. So they're going to have to rent. A lot of people that I'm working with, we're looking at new construction, we're looking at multi units. And these are investors that are coming directly to me saying, hey, Chris, you know, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to do moving forward. You know, what do you have in inventory? Obviously, your inventory is low. So it does take, on my behalf, to be successful in my world, I have to do a lot more legwork, a whole lot more legwork. And I have to make it easier on them. How do I make it make sense to someone, especially if it's their primary home? That's when it becomes a challenge. So opportunities are there, guys. You know, really think about it. If you guys are in the market right now, if you're thinking about selling your home, if you're in the Tampa Bay market, if you need I do a free consultation where we review your current home, look at your current market, tell you what's going on, how properties are selling, how long properties are actually staying on the market, and how much properties are actually going for. And then also by how are properties, you know, how are price adjustments on particular homes that are hitting the market? You know, what's going on in the market today that may impact my decision on trying to sell my home. So, guys, that's what I have for you for today. That is the real estate market update. I know that this is always a plus for you guys, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you hanging in there, especially with today's technology situation. But hey, we don't let technology stop the show. We figure it out. Call the IT team. The IT team gets on board. So shout out to the IT team for jumping on board and getting this all figured out for us and keeping us rolling. So definitely appreciate it. Don't forget, guys, I will be, if you guys are on the email list, you'll receive this. If you signed up for this particular webinar, you'll make sure that you get this as well. I know my guys that are on like Instagram, you don't see the PowerPoint that I do with this, but you do hear me, so be sure to tune in. If it is something that you do want, be sure to go over to the YouTube channel. So that information will be at the bottom of this video, also included in future videos as well. So make sure that you guys have that information. You can always get those that information. So we didn't have a global, I know people are asking, what's the global CEO interview? So that was an interview that was last month that we had. There was an interview with the Century 21 CEO. So it's great information there. Oh, dynamite. If you guys haven't had a chance to listen to that podcast, be sure to check it out. Get great insight on what's going on. I'm sure we'll have another remarks from future interviews with different CEOs, economists, in regards to what's going on in the market. But thank you guys. Really appreciate it. If you guys even connect with me on social media, at Chris Brown RE Pro is my handle. My information is all in the description as well. Different platforms to check me out on and seeing what's going on, especially if you guys are looking into the investment properties as well as this whole land thing. People are looking at land. So I'll be dropping some videos in regards to the land and how you guys can get involved with that. But be sure to tune in. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell a friend about this. Can't miss it. Chris Brown, RE Pro. I'm giving you the latest and greatest update. Real estate. Take care.